Late one night, Albus Dumbledore and Minerva McGonagall, professors at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, along with groundskeeper Rubius Hagrid, deliver an orphaned infant named Harry Potter to his aunt and uncle, Petunia and Vernon, his only living relatives. Years have passed. Now Harry has grown up 10 years old. His uncle family's attitude with him is very cruel. He used to beat him and lock him in his room downstairs. One day, some letters are delivered for Harry from somewhere. His uncle tears them up. Suddenly, letters start to come from everywhere like a rain. Being irritated, his uncle brings him and his family to a desolate place. At the same time, a giant-like human Rubius Hagrid approaches there. He tells Harry that his parents had the knowledge about witchcraft. They are no more. He tells him that he is also a wizard. Giving him an admit letter to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, he takes Harry to London with him. They go to the Wizarding Bank where Harry withdraws his parents' left money. Then they go to buy a wizard wand, which is going to be used in the School of Witchcraft by Harry. Then Hagrid gives Harry an owl. Harry asks him how his parents died, as he had been told that they died in car accident. Hagrid tells him that they were killed by a wizard called Voldemort. You were too young at that time. Your forehead mark has also been given by him. Hagrid drops Harry at a station. Railway platform to Hogwarts School is appeared while crossing a wall. He moves to his train, crossing that wall. There he meets a blonde-haired boy named Ron, a girl named Hermione. They are befriended. Afterwards, they reach the School of Witchcraft. Harry also meets Draco Malfoy, who is from a wealthy, pure-blood wizard family. The two immediately form a rivalry. Draco teases Ron too much for being poor. Then Principal Albus Dumbledore reaches there. He warns that the third floor in Right Direction and Dark Forest places are forbidden to visit. Professor McGonagall groups them into 4 sections. One of the professors named Snape is looking at Harry curiously. Consequently, Harry's wound starts aching. The students assemble in the Great Hall where the Sorting Hat sorts the first years in 4 respective houses: Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. Harry is placed into Gryffindor alongside Ron and Hermione, while Draco is sorted into Slytherin, a house noted for dark wizards. Next day, when they are taking lunch, students get something from their parents, but nothing comes for Harry. Now a class regarding flying broomsticks takes place. After class, Malfoy throws a ball mischievously. Harry catches his thrown ball while flying on the broomstick. It is witnessed by Professor McGonagall. She assigns Harry a role of Seeker of the Quidditch team. Seeker is one who catches the golden ball while flying on the broomstick in the game. Hermione says to him, "Your father is also a Seeker and you also have become a Seeker." While returning to the Gryffindor common room, the staircases change paths, leading Harry, Ron, and Hermione to the 3rd floor, which is restricted. There they discover a giant 3-headed dog named Fluffy. They go to their rooms while escaping from it. In the following day, the captain of Quidditch team shows a golden ball to Harry. He tells him that whose Seeker will catch the ball first, that team will be victorious. In the coming scene, it is seen that everyone is taking lunch. But Hermione is not present there because she in girls' bathroom upset with Ron. A person comes there while running and tells that giant creature has entered the school. All are afraid. Ron and Harry go to search for Hermione. On the other side, the giant creature moves to the girls' bathroom. Ron and Harry rushes to girls' bathroom and rescue Hermione. They get 5 points to defeat that creature. The day for the game Quidditch has come. Gryffindor team gets the 20 points playing perfectly. The other team members begin to hit them. Then Harry's broomstick begins to lose its balance. Hermione observes that Professor Snape is uttering some enchanted words, so she goes to him and sets his clothes on fire. After this, Harry's broomstick is stabilized. Now Harry is finding difficulty to catch that ball. Fortunately, he brings the victory for his team, catching the golden ball. On the Christmas day, Harry gets his father's invisibility cloak as a gift. As the name suggests, wearing the cloak he becomes invisible. He goes to library, wearing it so he may get some information about what is actually that 3-headed dog is guarding, but he is unable to know about it. He looks it on a large mirror where he sees his parents standing with him. Then school principal comes there and tells Harry that this mirror reflects your inner dreams. Don't trust it, otherwise you may lose your courage. The trio discover that Fluffy is guarding the Philosopher's Stone, a magical object that can turn metal into gold and moreover can make a man immortal. They think Professor Snape is after this stone. Hagrid tells them that he himself is the guard of that stone. Malfoy witnesses them there. He complains to the Professor McGonagall and she punishes all of them because of the visit to that place. As a punishment, they are sent to Dark Forest with Hagrid. Going there, Harry observes that a mysterious thing has killed a unicorn. As that unicorn killer is about to attack him, a mythical centaur appears there. It tells that the blood of unicorns strengthens that entity. That entity wants to become mighty like in the past. Harry thinks that he may be Voldemort. Harry, Hermione, and Ron think whether that stone is secure or not. It is quite possible that Snape just wants to steal this stone to give it to Voldemort. We will observe him, going at night. When they go to 3rd floor, Fluffy is awakened. Anyhow, they escape from Fluffy and move under the room, but they are trapped in a plant-like creature. They hardly get rid from that trap. Now they need to move further and they have to open a door with the right key as that place is full of flying keys. Harry identifies a rusty key to open the gate and works. Then they go to a chessboard room where a big chess game is placed. They play is very dangerous. They themselves were the chess pieces. While playing this game, Hermione and Ron are left behind and only Harry proceeds further. Harry discovers that Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher Quirinus Quirrell wants the stone. Snape had figured it out and had been protecting Harry. That day, he was uttering the enchanted words in order to protect Harry. Quirrell removes his turban and reveals a weakened Voldemort living on the back of his head. Dumbledore's protective enchantment places the stone in Harry's possession. Voldemort attempts to bargain the stone from Harry in exchange for resurrecting his parents, but Harry refuses. Quirrell attempts to kill Harry. When Harry touches Quirrell's skin, it burns Quirrell, turns him to ashes. Voldemort's soul rises from the pile and escapes, knocking out Harry as it passes through him. Harry recovers in the school infirmary. Dumbledore says the stone has been destroyed to prevent misuse and that Ron and Hermione are safe. Dumbledore reveals how Harry defeated Quirrell when his mother Lily died to save Harry. A love-based protection against Voldemort was placed on him. Harry, Ron, and Hermione are rewarded with house points for their heroism, tying them for first place with Slytherin. Dumbledore then awards 10 points to their housemate Neville Longbottom for having had the courage to stand up to the trio, granting Gryffindor the House Cup. Harry returns to the Dursleys for the summer. He is happy to finally have a real home at Hogwarts. The movie begins in Dursley's house. We see Harry Potter, who was worried because he does not get any mail from his friends Ron and Hermione. On his 12th birthday, which was held on July 31st, when Harry comes back to his room he sees a house elf named Dobby, who tells Harry that returning to Hogwarts will put his life in danger. Dobby's warning is ignored by Harry, who is determined to return to Hogwarts as he loves to be there. It is revealed that Dobby had been collecting Harry's letters in order to make it appear as though his friends have forgotten him in the hopes that Harry will not want to return to Hogwarts. Dobby, realizing that he will have to use magic to stop him from going to Hogwarts, decides to smash a huge cake that Aunt Petunia has bought for an important dinner party for Vernon Dursley's boss and his wife. The Ministry of Magic blames Harry for Dobby's spell and warns him that if he practices magic outside of school again he will be expelled. When the Dursleys realize that Harry cannot practice magic outside of school, they lock Harry's books and wand away, and Vernon Dursley puts bars on his bedroom window, trapping Harry as a prisoner. A few days later, Fred, George, and Ron Weasley arrive in their father's magical car to save him and take Harry to their house. After spending a day at the Weasley family, everyone travels to platform for Hogwarts to take the Hogwarts Express back to school. To their surprise, Harry and Ron are unable to pass over the barrier that separates platforms 9 and 10. In desperation, they fly to Hogwarts, smashing with the Whooping Willow and breaking Ron's wand. Their car ejects them and their things before disappearing into the forest. Harry quickly discovers that he is the unwanted center of 3 people's attention. The first one is the egotistical new defense against the dark arts professor Gilderoy Lockhart. Second is Harry's admirer Colin Creevey, who want to take his pictures, and finally Ron's sister Ginny Weasley, who likes Harry. When the Chamber of Secrets is unlocked, something haunts the castle with the potential to practically petrify many students. According to mythology, Salazar Slytherin established the chamber, which can only be opened by his heir. In order to get rid of Hogwarts of students who are not pure-blood wizards, many people believe Harry is the heir of Slytherin, especially when he accidentally speaks Parseltongue, the language of snakes, a rare skill Harry acquired during Voldemort's violent attack on him when he was a child. Harry, Ron, and Hermione set out to learn about the heir of Slytherin. Using Polyjuice Potion, they disguised themselves as Slytherin students Crabbe and Goyle, intending to uncover the identity of the prince from Draco Malfoy. However, they find Draco does not know who the Prince of Slytherin is, but he does provide Harry and Ron with a key hint about the Chamber of Secrets unintentionally. Unfortunately, Hermione stole off Millicent Bulstrode's uniform was from a cat, and also because the Polyjuice Potion is only designed for human transformations, she takes on a cat look. It takes her almost a month to return to her usual human form. She was discharged from a hospital wing in early February, and a regular look was restored. The attacks become frequent during the year, scaring more students, including Hermione. Furthermore, a note scrawled on a wall says that Ginny Weasley has been taken into the chamber where her skeleton will lie forever. Harry discovers the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets with the assistance of Ron and Moaning Merle. They convince Gilderoy Lockhart to assist them, but they don't know that he is a liar who wipes away other wizards' memories and claims their accomplishments. When they find the chamber's entrance, Lockhart tries to use Ron's broken wand to erase Harry and Ron's memories, but the spell backfires on him, causing the ceiling to collapse. Lockhart awakes, but he has lost his memory. Harry gets separated from Ron. Harry makes it to the chamber where he discovers Ginny unconscious. He also encounters Tom Riddle, a young guy who claims to be a memory of Lord Voldemort. Harry discovers that Ginny, who is under Lord Voldemort's control, opened the chamber. It is revealed that Voldemort's actual name is Tom Marvolo Riddle. He imprinted his memories in an enchanted notebook in order to one day complete the work he began 50 years ago when he opened the chamber to clear Hogwarts of non-pure blood witches and wizards. Hagrid, a Hogwarts student at the time, was made responsible for the attacks and expelled. Tom Riddle's memory gets stronger as it snatches Ginny's life and seeks to murder Harry by releasing a basilisk, the monster responsible for petrifying the students. However, Professor Dumbledore's Phoenix Fox comes carrying the Sorting Hat, from which Harry takes the sword of Godric Gryffindor. Fox blinds the basilisk, removing its deadly gaze, and Harry slays it with the sword. Harry's arm has been punctured by the basilisk's fang while attempting to kill it. Harry stabs the diary with one of the basilisk's teeth, erasing Riddle's memory. As Ginny awakens from her near-death state, Harry appears to be dying fast for the venom, but Fox arrives to cure him with his tears. Phoenix tears have healing power. Ginny and Harry fully recover and carried back to school by Fox. Harry recalls meeting with the Weasleys in a Diagon Alley bookshop. He knows it was Draco Malfoy's father, Lucius Malfoy, who put the diary into Ginny's cauldron, but he is unable to prove it. Dobby confesses that he is the Malfoy servant and that, knowing of their treachery, he has been trying to protect Harry for the past year. Harry thanks Lucius for putting one of his old socks inside the journal. Dobby catches the journal after Lucius throws it away and discovers the sock inside its pages. In Dobby's opinion, this is a gift from his master. In the traditional method in which a master frees a house elf from service, Dobby, now free, expresses his lifelong affection for Harry and defends him from Lucius's attack. Dumbledore clears up Harry's fears that he may have been placed in Slytherin rather than Gryffindor by telling him that it is his choice, not his ability, to define him, and that Harry could not have held the Gryffindor sword if he did not truly belong to that house. Here the movie ends. As the movie begins, at the Dursleys' home where Harry Potter lived and stayed as usual. Summer holidays, Uncle Vernon's sister Marge visits and treats Harry with disdain. She violently insults him and his parents. At this, Harry gets angry and inadvertently used his magical powers to get her inflated and drifted out of Dursley's house and away in a sunset. Then in frustration, Harry ran away from the Dursleys. At first he went on purpose, but quickly stopped when he realized he had nowhere else to go. He sits down at the edge of the road with his trunk. His surroundings stir as the wind picks up and a street lamp flickers above him. A jet-black dog emerges from the dark bushes opposite, growling at him. He gets nervous and he raises his wand at that instant. Then a night bus for lost witches or wizards makes a sharp appearance and escorts Harry on a wacky journey to the wizard's pub, the Leaky Cauldron. There Harry learns that Sirius Black, an alleged supporter of Lord Voldemort, the Dark Wizard, has escaped from Azkaban prison. Harry must meet the Minister of Magic, Cornelius Fudge. He fears expulsion from Hogwarts for using of underage magic out of school. To his surprise, the case gets dropped and Fudge says, the Ministry does not send students to Azkaban for such minor incidents. While at the Leaky Culprit, Harry is also reunited with his two best friends, Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger, and the rest of the Weasley family. Arthur Weasley pulls Harry aside to warn him about Sirius Black. He says that Harry must be aware of Sirius Black because of his loyalty to Voldemort. He believes that Harry is the only thing stopping Voldemort from returning to power. Sirius Black may be considering Harry as an obstacle and he has escaped from Azkaban to find and kill Harry Potter. Harry, Ron and Hermione return to Hogwarts for the school year. They aboard the Hogwarts Express, which is unexpectedly stopped and boarded by the Dementors, ghostly prison guards looking for Black. One of Dementors enters the trio's compartment, knocking Harry unconscious. At the same time, the new defense against the dark arts teacher Remus Lupin make that Dementor go away with an amulet. At Hogwarts, headmaster Albus Dumbledore announces that these Dementors will guard the school until Black is captured. Hogwarts caretaker Rubeus Hagrid is announced as the new magical creatures teacher. In Hagrid's first class, Draco Malfoy deliberately provokes Buckbeak, a hippogriff, into attacking and injuring him. Draco's father Lucius Malfoy, a powerful Ministry of Magic member of staff, files an official complaint. In defense against the dark arts, Professor Lupin instructs the class to defeat a Bogart which changes its form to appear as one's greatest fear. When Harry steps up, it manifests itself as a Dementor, however Lupin comes between them before Harry gets the chance. Later that night, Sirius Black breaks into Hogwarts and destroys the fat lady's portrait that guards Gryffindor Hall. Frightened and hidden in another painting, she tells Dumbledore that Black has entered the castle. The students spend the night sleeping in the Great Hall while the teachers search the castle for Black. The teachers are worried that how Black escaped from Dementors guarding the school. Next day, Professor Snape takes Lupin's defense against the dark arts teacher place while Lupin is intriguingly incapable of teaching. At the present time, in a law divergence from routine, he teaches the class about werewolves. During a whirlwind Quidditch match against Hufflepuff, the Dementor attacks Harry and hurts him. His broom lands on Whooping Willow where it is destroyed. In Hogsmeade, Harry was shocked to learn that Black not only betrayed Harry's parents to Lord Voldemort but was also Harry's godfather. Lupin personally teaches Harry to use a Patronus charm to protect himself from Dementors. During another school outing, Harry, still trying to enter Hogsmeade, wears an invisibility cloak and tries to sneak into town. This time he is caught by Fred and George Weasley and they give him the Marauders map, a map of the entire school showing the location of everyone in the area in real time. Fred and George tell Harry that the map has marked some of Hogwarts' secret passageways. After that, Harry along with Professor Lupin comes to know that Sirius is innocent, having been falsely accused of betraying the Potters to Voldemort as well as killing their mutual friend Peter Pettigrew. It is revealed that Scabbers, pet mouse of Ron, is actually the animagus form of Pettigrew, the real culprit of the crime for which Sirius was convicted. Severus Snape arrives to capture Black, but Harry knocks him out with a spell. After forcing Pettigrew back into human form, Lupin and Sirius prepare to kill him, but Harry convinces them to hand Pettigrew over to the Dementors. As the trio leaves, the full moon rises and Lupin transforms into a werewolf. Sirius transforms into his dog form to fight him. In the midst of chaos, Pettigrew turns back into a rat and escapes. Harry and Sirius are attacked by Dementors and Harry sees a glowing figure at some distance. It saves them by casting a powerful patch from his spell. Harry believes the mysterious figure to be his deceased father. Before fainting, he wakes up to discover that Sirius has been captured and sentenced for the Dementor's kiss to suck out his soul. Dumbledore enters in. Harry, Ron, and Hermione try and convince him of Black's innocence. Dumbledore somehow already knows, but says that their word alone won't be believed. However, he suggests mysteriously that Harry and Hermione travel in time back by using Hermione's time-turning device. It is revealed that how she has been attending simultaneous classes. Hermione turns her hourglass necklace back 3 turns. 3 hours and Harry and Hermione are together, thrust into the past where they observe and remold the evening's events. They threw stones through the window of Hagrid's hut, warning each other of the approaching executioners. They save Buck while the execution team is inside with Hagrid just before the execution, thus exonerating Hagrid from all responsibility. Hermione distracts werewolf Lupin, stalking Harry by imitating the cries of other werewolves. From a hideout in the woods, Harry watches a mentor's footage and realized since the deer symbol didn't appear that he must have been the one who had conjured the mighty Patronus. With Harry's godfather was broken, however, Harry was relieved to know that Black, although still considered a fugitive, was at least free and safe for now. Black leaves riding on Buck. Harry and Hermione return to the infirmary, and as soon as the time mine heals, and Dumbledore reluctantly cheerfully bids them good night. As the school year drew to a close, Lupin announced that he was stepping down, believing the students' parents would be uncomfortable knowing it was now publicly available that he was a werewolf. He returns the Marauder's map to Harry because he is no longer a teacher. Harry then received the gift from an unknown source, the Fireball, a fast-racing broomstick. Hermione held up a large quill also included in the package, confirming that Sirius had definitely sent it. Harry tries it and is pulled out of view, ending the film with a quick shot of Harry driving his new broom, which is really fast. The movie begins where Harry Potter has a nightmare in which a Muggle caretaker is murdered after overhearing a plot by Lord Voldemort, Peter Pettigrew, and another man whom Harry does not recognize. Harry, along with the Weasleys, Hermione, and Cedric and Amos Diggory attend the Quidditch World Cup. After the match, Death Eaters attack the tournament and the man from Harry's nightmare casts the Dark Mark, which is the mark of Voldemort and Death Eaters. At Hogwarts, Professor Dumbledore announces that the school will host the Triwizard Tournament along with the Durmstrang Institute from Northern Europe and the Beauxbatons Academy from France. A single student from each school is to be selected by the Goblet of Fire to participate, though students below the age of 17 are not eligible to enter the tournament. Fleur Delacour is selected as the champion from Beauxbatons. Victor Krum is selected from Durmstrang, and Cedric Diggory is selected from Hogwarts. The Goblet of Fire then selects Harry as the 4th champion, causing much confusion. Many students believe Harry cheated and Ron shuns him, hurt that Harry did not inform him when he apparently entered himself. He also introduces Professor Alistair Moody as the new defense against the dark arts teacher. Barty Crouch Sr. insists that after being selected the champions are bound by contract. For the first task, each champion must retrieve a golden egg guarded by a dragon. Professor Moody, the new defense against the dark arts teacher, advises Harry on how to do this, hinting that Harry can use his wand to summon his broomstick. Harry succeeds in retrieving the egg, which contains information about the second challenge. Ron reconciles with Harry after seeing how dangerous the first task was. At Christmas, the school hosts the Yule Ball. Harry and Ron are unable to go with their desired dates, and hence go with Parvati and Padma Patil. Hermione goes with Victor Krum, which makes Ron jealous. Cedric advises Harry to use the prefect's bathroom to get a clue for the second task using the egg. For the second task, the champions have to save somebody of value to them from the Black Lake. Harry has to save Ron, Cedric has to save Cho, Victor has to rescue Hermione, and Fleur has to save her sister. Neville Longbottom gives Harry gillyweed to help him breathe underwater. Cedric comes in first and Harry is awarded second place after he saves not only Ron but Fleur's sister. After this, Fleur withdraws from the task. Later, Harry finds the lifeless body of Barty Crouch Sr., a Ministry of Magic official, in the Forbidden Forest. He later enters Dumbledore's office where he enters a pensieve in which he witnesses a previous trial of Igor Karkaroff, current headmaster of Durmstrang, during Voldemort's first downfall. Karkaroff is asked to name those who served Voldemort. He gives Severus Snape, who is vouched for by Dumbledore. Karkaroff then exposes Barty Crouch Jr., son of Crouch Sr., who is hosting the trial. Harry recognizes Crouch Jr. from his nightmare. For the third task, the champions must navigate a vast maze to reach the Triwizard Cup at its center. Harry and Cedric reach the cup only to realize it is a portkey which transports them to a graveyard. Pettigrew kills Cedric on Voldemort's orders. He then resurrects Voldemort, who summons his Death Eaters. Voldemort attempts to use the killing curse on Harry, but the latter deflects it. The ghosts of Voldemort's previous victims, including Lily and James Potter, appear and distract Voldemort long enough for Harry to use the cup to return to Hogwarts with Cedric's body. Harry informs Dumbledore that Cedric was murdered by Voldemort. Harry is dragged by Moody to his office. He is shocked to learn that Moody was the one who entered him into the tournament and was guiding him to ensure the return of Voldemort. Before Moody attempts to kill Harry, Dumbledore, Snape and McGonagall subdue Moody. Using Veritaserum, they learn that they have actually caught Barty Crouch Jr., who was impersonating Moody using Polyjuice Potion, while the real Moody is imprisoned. Crouch Jr. is sent to Azkaban. At the end of Term Feast, Dumbledore announces that Cedric was murdered by Voldemort, although the Ministry denies these claims. Harry informs Dumbledore of his encounter with Voldemort. In the end, the three schools bid farewell to one another, with Harry, Ron and Hermione agreeing that everything is going to change. The movie begins where we see Harry Potter being bullied from his cousin Dudley and his friends. They call him a freak because Dudley has told him about Harry getting nightmares about Cedric Diggory. Everything becomes dark as night as Dementors have reached there. Harry Potter and Dudley runs away from them. The Dementors attack them. To save Dudley and himself, Harry repels them using a Patronus spell. Harry immediately takes Dudley to home. Because of the Dementors, Dudley is horrified. Then Harry receives a letter from the Ministry of Magic which states that Harry Potter has used Patronus spell in front of the Muggle, which is against the minor witchcraft rules. That is the reason Harry Potter is expelled from school. His uncle is happy to hear this and Harry Potter gets very upset. Same night, Alastor Moody with some of his friends bring Harry at the headquarters of the Order of the Phoenix, which is group led by Dumbledore. The Order of the Phoenix is a secret organization founded by Albus Dumbledore. They Harry that the Ministry of Magic is oblivious to Lord Voldemort's return. At the Order's headquarters, Harry's godfather, Sirius Black, mentions that Voldemort seeks an object he previously lacked. Harry believes it to be a weapon. Harry also meets his friends Ron, Hermione. They tell him that Dumbledore will be there to hear your case and you will have to go to the Ministry of Magic in the morning for the hearing of your case. Next morning Harry arrives in the Ministry of Magic. Cornelius Fudge, who is the minister of the Ministry of Magic, claims that Harry has used Patronus spell in front of the Muggles, which is against the rules of minor witchcraft. Dumbledore arrives and says that Harry did not deliberately use that spell. There was Dementors and he used the spell to save their lives from them. Then there is voting and Harry is decided to be innocent. The next morning Harry, along with all his friends, leaves for the Hogwarts. On arriving there, Dumbledore welcomes the students. Minister for Magic Cornelius Fudge has appointed Dolores Umbridge as Hogwarts' new defense against the dark arts professor. Umbridge's refusal to teach defensive spells causes her and Harry to clash. Harry is forced to write lines for lying about Voldemort. A magic quill etches the words into his hand as he writes. Ron and Hermione are outraged, but Harry refuses to tell Dumbledore, who has distanced himself from Harry for his protection. As Umbridge gains more control over the school, Ron and Hermione help Harry form Dumbledore's army, a secret group to teach students defensive spells. Umbridge recruits Slytherins for an inquisitorial squad to spy on the other students. Meanwhile, Harry and Cho Chang develop romantic feelings for each other. One night, Harry envisions Arthur Weasley being attacked at the Ministry, seeing it from the attacker's perspective. Concerned that Voldemort will exploit this connection to Harry, Dumbledore has Severus Snape teach Harry a clemency to defend his mind from Voldemort's influence. During a lesson, Harry sees Snape's memories of how his father, James, bullied and tormented Snape in school. The connection between Harry and Voldemort further isolates Harry from his friends. Meanwhile, Bellatrix Lestrange, Sirius' deranged Death Eater cousin, escapes Azkaban prison along with 9 other Death Eaters. At Hogwarts, Umbridge and her inquisitorial squad expose Dumbledore's army. Dumbledore, falsely accused of forming it, escapes as Fudge orders his arrest. Harry believes Cho betrayed Dumbledore's army to Umbridge, ending their budding relationship. Umbridge becomes the new headmistress. Harry experiences a vision that Voldemort is torturing Sirius. Harry, Ron, and Hermione rush to Umbridge's office to alert the Order via the Floo network. Umbridge catches them and, as she is about to severely punish Harry, Hermione claims Dumbledore has hidden a secret weapon in the Forbidden Forest. She and Harry lead Umbridge to where Hagrid's giant half-brother, Grop, is kept. The Centaurs confront them and kidnap Umbridge after she insults and attacks them. Harry, Hermione, Ron, Luna, Neville, and Ginny fly to the Ministry of Magic on Thestrals to save Sirius. The 6 enter the Department of Mysteries and recover the object that Voldemort is after, a bottled prophecy labeled with Harry's name. Death Eaters, including Lucius Malfoy and Bellatrix Lestrange, ambush them. Lucius reveals that Harry's vision of Sirius being tortured was a ruse to lure him there. Harry refuses to give Lucius the prophecy, and a fight between Dumbledore's army and the Death Eaters ensues. The Death Eaters overpower the students and force Harry to surrender the prophecy. When Harry hands it to Lucius, Sirius and Remus Lupin arrive with Order members Nymphadora Tonks, Kingsley Shacklebolt and Mad-Eye Moody. As they attack the Death Eaters, Lucius drops the prophecy, destroying it. Just as Sirius overpowers Lucius, Bellatrix kills Sirius. Voldemort appears, but moments before he can kill Harry, Dumbledore arrives. A violent duel erupts, destroying much of the atrium, while Bellatrix escapes. The 2 wizards are evenly matched, so Voldemort possesses Harry's body, wanting Dumbledore to sacrifice him. The love Harry feels for his friends and family quickly drives out Voldemort. Ministry officials arrive before Voldemort disapparates. Fudge admits that Voldemort has returned and resigns in disgrace. Umbridge is dismissed and Dumbledore returns as Hogwarts as headmaster. Dumbledore explains he had distanced himself from Harry to prevent Voldemort exploiting their connection. He also reveals the prophecy. As he grieves Sirius' death, Harry tries coming to terms with the prophecy neither can live while the other survives. Lord Voldemort tightens his grip on the Wizarding and Muggle worlds. His Death Eaters are going through London and they have completely destroyed London's Millennium Bridge and killed some Muggles. They also have kidnapped Wand Maker, Mr. Ollivander. Harry is enjoying an evening sitting in a restaurant and there he sees Dumbledore. He goes to him and Dumbledore teleports them to a place to meet former Hogwarts potions professor Horace Slughorn. They go to an isolated house. Dumbledore hits a sofa with his wand. It turns into Professor Horace Slughorn, whom Dumbledore wants to teach potions at Hogwarts. At first, Slughorn refuses. He shows pictures to Harry of Lily and Black as they were his favorite students. Dumbledore asks him again but Slughorn refuses, so he takes Harry out with him. Slughorn stops them and accepts Dumbledore's offer. Dumbledore teleports Harry to the Weasleys. Somewhere else, Draco's mother Narcissa and Bellatrix go to meet Snape. They tell that Voldemort has given difficult task to Draco after Lucius got arrested. They don't think he can do it, so Narcissa begs Snape to help him. Then Bellatrix makes Snape take an unbreakable vow to protect Draco and to help him complete his task. This makes Narcissa and Bellatrix relaxed and they leave. Harry, Hermione, Ron and Ginny go to Fred and George's shop. All shops were closed except Fred and George's. Then, they see Draco, Narcissa with Death Eaters enter a shop. Harry, Hermione, and Ron get suspicious of Death Eaters and spy on Draco and her mother. They see them standing near a cupboard. Then the trio leave that place and aboard the train to Hogwarts. In the train, Harry tells Hermione and Ron that he thinks Draco has become a Death Eater. Ron and Hermione were skeptical. Harry then decides to spy on Draco. He wears invisibility cloak and go there, where Draco is sitting with friends. Draco somehow knows about Harry's presence when train stops and others leave. He hits Harry. He removes cloak and then puts it back on him so Harry could not attend Hogwarts this year. Luna sees Harry and takes him to the Hogwarts. In the school, Dumbledore welcomes all the students for their another year at school. Slughorn has become potions teacher and Snape is the new defense against dark arts teacher. Everyone takes the dinner and then go to sleep. In the morning, everyone gets ready for first day. Harry and Ron are free and are wandering around. Professor McGonagall reminds them of Slughorn's potion class. They run to attend the class. Horace lets them in, however they are late. He says that whoever will make the best potion will get good luck potion as a reward. Everyone in the class has books, except Harry and Ron. They take books from used books. Ron somehow gets a book in good condition. Harry gets a torn book. Harry discovers that this used potions textbook is filled with helpful notes and spells added by the Half-Blood Prince. Harry makes right potion and gets luck potion. Hermione gets shocked about his correct potion. Using it, Harry excels in class, annoying Hermione and impressing Slughorn, who awards him a liquid luck potion. Next day, Ron asks Harry for luck potion for Quidditch match. Harry gives him something instead of potion and Ron takes it as luck potion. It raises his confidence. Ron plays well and their team wins. Ron starts dating Lavender, which hurts Hermione. Harry calms her down and tells about his feelings for Ginny. Dumbledore meets Harry and shows him vials full of Voldemort memories. He puts a vial in pensive. Harry goes inside and sees 10 years old Tom Riddle. Dumbledore meets him, hearing about him being wizard. When Dumbledore meets him, Tom was different as he could lit fire without saying spell. He could speak to snakes. Dumbledore brings him to the school. Then Dumbledore tells something to Harry. Harry, Ron, and Hermione follow Horace to Hogsmeade. He tells them that Dumbledore has told him that Horace knows something important about Voldemort. Dumbledore wants Harry to be friendly with him and somehow make him tell about that information. Then, they see Draco take 2 girls inside a room. They just ignored this. Later they see these girls walking. One girl gets lifted into the air then falls on ground. Hagrid takes her for treatment. Snape and McGonagall find cursed necklace with girl. Harry, Ron, Hermione claims that Draco is behind all this, but Snape does not believe them. Then, the trio go to Horace's party. When all other leave, Harry stays there. He wants to spend more time with him to earn his trust. Harry sees some pictures there and wants to talk about that. Then Snape comes to Harry and gives Dumbledore's message that he won't be in school for Christmas. Filch catches Malfoy there as he is uninvited in that party. Snape takes him away. He scolds Draco that he won't be able to complete Voldemort's task by doing such insane acts. Draco then goes away angrily. In next scenes, Harry goes to Weasley's to spend Christmas. There he tells Order of Phoenix about his suspicion on Draco. Arthur tells about 2 vanishing cabinets. If something is put inside one cabinet, then it gets transported to another cabinet. As they are talking, some Death Eaters come and put the fields on fire. Harry saves Ginny and goes after Bellatrix, but he fails to hurt her. Death Eaters burn Weasley's house and leave. Harry goes back to school. Dumbledore calls Harry and shows him a memory. Harry sees that Tom was Horace's favorite student. On one evening, after a party, Tom stays alone with him. Tom tells Horace about reading something in a library and asks for further information. Horace becomes angry and sends Tom away. At present, Dumbledore tells Harry that it's a Horace memory, but I think some part of this memory is fake. What Voldemort has asked about can help us kill him. He says Harry must insist Slughorn to tell the truth. Harry goes to Horace and talks like Tom to know the truth. Horace understands all and asks Harry to leave. Harry sees a lunatic Ron in his room, who has eaten love potion chocolate sent from a Harry's fan. Harry takes him to Horace. Horace gives Ron a potion to drink, but he doesn't recover. Horace gives them a drink which was for someone else. As Harry and Horace about to drink, Ron immediately drinks it. His condition becomes worse. Horace sees him and instantly gives him curing potion. Harry takes Ron to school's infirmary to properly treat him. Whole staff gather and discusses about Ron. Horace brings that drink bottle and shows to Dumbledore. Dumbledore smells it and tells there is poison in this drink. Everyone get worried. Horace tells that the drink was for Dumbledore. Draco goes to room of requirement and put a bird in a cabinet. Other side of cabinet is with Narcissa and Death Eaters. Harry is reading a book in the hall and sees the girl who was cursed by black magic. Harry asks her about that day. The girl gets frightened to see someone and runs from there. Harry turns around and sees Draco standing. Draco leaves that place in hurry. Harry follows him to an abundant washroom where Draco attacks Harry. Both cast spells on each other. Then Harry casts a spell from the Book of Half-Blood Prince. Draco falls down and starts bleeding. Harry trembles in fear and Snape comes there. He treats Draco and sends Harry from there. Harry runs to common room and meets Ron, Hermione and Ginny. He tells them about the book and incident with Draco. They tell him that book is a curse and he must get rid of that book. Harry and Ginny go to room of requirement to hide that book. There they are alone and they start a relationship. After leaving room, Harry meets Ron, who advises him to try luck with Horace. Harry remembers his luck potion and drinks it. He tells Ron and Hermione that he is going to visit Hagrid. They get shocked and wonders why Harry is visiting Hagrid instead of Horace. On the way to Hagrid, Harry locates Horace in greenhouse. Harry talks to him for a little bit and moves on. Horace walks along with him. They find out about death of Hagrid's old pet. Hagrid takes them home. Hagrid and Horace talks about that pet. Horace also talks about a fish pad given by Lily. Harry asks Horace to tell the truth about his memory for the sake of his dead mother who died fighting an evil. He asks him to be brave and give him the information. Horace gets ashamed and gives him his memory in a vial. Harry runs to Dumbledore's office and pour memory in pensive to see. In that memory, Tom has asked Horace about Horcruxes. Horace tells that Horcruxes are magical objects which can be created murdering someone. The number of Horcruxes equals to numbers of murders. Thus these Horcruxes form of immortality. On death, by collecting magical objects one can reborn. Tom talks about making 7 Horcruxes, at which Horace becomes angry and he asks Tom to leave. At present, Dumbledore tells Harry that Voldemort has made 6 Horcruxes. Dumbledore tells that 2 Horcruxes are already been destroyed. One of them was Tom's diary that Harry destroyed in 2nd year. Other was a ring of Tom's father, that Dumbledore already destroyed. They should find the remaining 4 Horcruxes. Dumbledore tells Harry to call Snape. Harry abides his order. Dumbledore talks to Snape in alone. Then he comes to Harry. Dumbledore tells Harry that he knows about one more Horcrux. He teleports Harry to an underwater cave. There they find Salazar Slytherin's locket inside the potion. It is a Horcrux. To gain locket, they must drink potion. Harry tries to stop Dumbledore drinking it. He convinces Harry to let him drink even if he dies. Harry does what he has been told. Harry grabs the locket when potion finishes. Then weak Dumbledore asks Harry to bring water. Harry goes to bring water but Infurious attacks him and pulls Harry in water. Weak Dumbledore casts spell from his wand. Infurious runs away. Dumbledore takes Harry and teleport back to Hogwarts. Again Dumbledore asks Harry to bring Snape. Then Draco comes there and tells Dumbledore that Voldemort has given him task to kill him. Dumbledore tells that he already knows this. He knows Draco has given dark magic necklace to that girl and poisoned the drink at Horace's. Dumbledore sees Bellatrix and other Death Eaters with Draco. Draco tells that he has called Death Eaters via Vanishing Cabinet. Dumbledore looks at hiding Harry where Snape comes and signs him silence and goes to Draco. Snape sees Harry but he tells him to be quiet. Then he goes to Dumbledore. Snape throws Dumbledore out of castle and kills him by a spell. Snape, Bellatrix and others with Draco run to leave Hogwarts. Harry runs after them, casting spells from that book. Snape throws Harry away by a spell. He then tells that he wrote that book. He is Half-Blood Prince. Snape leaves without giving Harry any more answers and causing him any harm. Harry moves to Hogwarts where everyone surrounds Dumbledore's body. They honor him by raising wands. Next day, Harry opens locket in front of Ron and Hermione and tells that it is not real Horcrux. RAB has the real Horcrux, who is Death Eater. As Harry saw him in Horace's pictures, Harry, Ron, and Hermione agree to forego their final Hogwarts year to hunt for the remaining Horcruxes. Here the movie ends. As the movie begins, Rufus is giving speech. He assures people that they'll protect them from Death Eaters as they are killing muggles and hunting down half-blood wizards. Hermione, aware about it, erases her parents' memories and leaves home. Whereas Harry's aunt, uncle, and cousin have leave him. At Malfoy Manor, Severus Snape meets with Lord Voldemort and his Death Eaters. He reports that the Order of the Phoenix will move Harry Potter to a safe location. He is no longer under his mother's protective spell. Voldemort confiscates Lucius Malfoy's wand as his own is powerless against Harry's, because it and Harry's wand can't fight each other as these are sharing the same Phoenix feather core. Alistair Moody, Bill, Ron, Hermione, Hagrid, George and Fred and Mundungus come to Harry to move him to a safer place. They drink Polyjuice potion to disguise themselves as Harry. They then start their journey, Death Eaters, and Voldemort attacks them on their way. Harry breaks Voldemort's wand and escapes from Death Eaters. They arrive at Weasley's and on their way, Fred is injured and Moody and Hedwig have died, whereas Mundungus have ran away seeing Voldemort. Harry gets sad and decides not to let anyone die because of him. He, alone, leaves at night to find Horcruxes. Ron stops him and says that they'll find Horcruxes together. He also reminds him Bill Weasley and Fleur Delacour's wedding. Harry stays hearing this. During the preps of wedding, Rufus meets Harry, Hermione and Ron. He reads Dumbledore's will and gives them the stuff that Dumbledore have left for them. Ron gets a Deluminator, Hermione a copy of the Tales of Beedle the Bard, and Harry gets the golden snitch that he caught in his first Quidditch match. Dumbledore had also bequeathed the Sword of Gryffindor to Harry, but it has gone missing. Rufus leaves and they join the wedding. Harry sees Luna's father wearing a weird locket. Everyone's enjoying, then get informed that Rufus has been killed and the Ministry has fallen. The Death Eaters have been ordered to kill all the Half-Bloods. Then Death Eaters arrive there. Some get caught while some run away, including Harry, Hermione and Ron. They get teleported to London where Snatchers try attacking them in a dinner. They leave from there and reach Grimmauld Place. There they get to know that RAB is Regulus Arctus Black, Sirius Black's younger brother. There they meet House Elf, a named creature. They ask him about RAB and he says that locket was stolen by Mundungus. Harry asks the creature to go find it. Creature brings Mundungus with Dobby and they ask him about the locket. He says that Umbridge had taken that locket and she still has it. Then they disguise themselves as Ministry's employees and enter there. They find it separately, but then they find it hanging in Umbridge's neck. They attack her and take away that locket. They then run away from there and their real faces get revealed. Then they hardly teleport to Grimmauld Place, but a Death Eater is successful to harm them. They teleport into a forest. Ron is injured and they can't teleport anymore because of his wounds. They set their tent into the woods. They try to destroy the locket but fail. They're wearing locket and turns to avoid a person getting affected by its evil powers. Harry sees in a dream that Voldemort in torturing Ollivander. Ollivander says that the wand was stolen by someone and Harry sees that boy as well. As they're living in a tent in woods, Harry and Hermione are focused at finding the Horcruxes and destroy them. Ron feels something weird, then he listens to Harry and Hermione. According to that book, Horcrux can be destroyed with Gryffindor sword. Ron gets angry, thinking that they always keep him uninformed of the important information and they're having an affair. Ron argues them and leaves the locket there and go. They both get sad, but yet Harry goes to Godric's Hollow with Hermione where his parents used to live. Also, he wants to meet Badhilda. It is said that she knew Dumbledore more than anyone. Harry and Hermione visit Harry's parents' grave. She sees a symbol at a grave same as she saw in the book. Then Badhilda shows up and it seems as if she has the sword. They go over to her home where Hermione notices blood stains and soon Badhilda changes into Nagini, which is Voldemort's snake. Harry and Hermione then teleport into the forest. Hermione shows Harry that his wand accidentally got broken. Harry doesn't say anything and sees that the boy whom he had seen stealing the wand is Gellert. Hermione goes to sleep while Harry is sitting there thinking of a solution. He sees a Pratinus and it takes him to a frozen pond. He sees sword inside that. He goes in there, but the locket is choking Harry, sensing the sword. Ron rescues him and takes the sword out. Harry asks him to destroy the locket and open the locket with Parcel Tongue. Black smoke rises and it shows them so many stuff that they're insecure of. Ron sees Harry and Hermione together and destroys the locket in anger. They then meet Hermione. She's angry at Ron at first but then forgives him. They discusses the symbol that she saw at the grave. Harry says that he has seen Lovegood wearing that symbol's locket. They then visit Lovegood to know the truth. Lovegood shares a story of 3 brothers who were passing through a bridge. Death comes there and tells them that no one has ever escaped alive from there. They've done that and it will give them anything they want. Elder brother takes the Elder Wand for power. Second one shows us the Sorcerer's Stone and the third one goes for the invisibility cloak. Death leaves them and the elder brother kills his enemy with the wand. Another enemy kills him in sleep and steals the wand. Whereas the other has resurrected his wife even though she was not happy to be alive. That's why she committed suicide and he also committed suicide in her grief. Whereas third brother was defending himself against death because he knew it was taking revenge. Then he gave his cloak to his son at old age and confronted death. These 3 things are called Deathly Hallows. When they are leaving after hearing the story, Lovegood tells that Luna was kidnapped by Death Eaters. He has planned to give Harry to them to get Luna back. Death Eaters come there and the trio come back to the forest. There they confront Snatchers and get caught. Harry's face swells up by Hermione's spell so that he won't be recognized. They're taken to Malfoy Mansion. Draco denies even though he knows that is Harry. Harry and Ron are put in dungeons where they meet Luna, Ollivander and Goblin. Bellatrix tortures Hermione. She believes that the trio has stolen Gryffindor's sword from her Gringotts vault. Harry begs for help using a mirror shard in which he believes he glimpsed Dumbledore. Dobby appears in response and helps save everyone while Harry grabs their captured wands from Draco Malfoy. As they disapparate, Bellatrix throws a knife which hits Dobby and he dies in Harry's hands. Harry buries him near Bill and Fleur's seaside cottage, an order-safe house. Meanwhile, Voldemort retrieves the Elder Wand from Dumbledore's tomb. Here the movie ends. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Movie continues on from the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Harry has buried Dobby near a cottage. Harry then goes inside and asks for Goblin Griphook. Harry meets him along with Ron and Hermione. Harry wants him to take them to Bellatrix's vault. They think that there might be a Horcrux in her vault because she was very upset about that vault. They can't go there alone without having someone to guide them. Griphook makes a deal of Gryffindor's sword in return of that and they agree on that. They then meet Ollivander. Harry shows him the wands that he took to ask him about the one he can use. He senses Draco's wand has changed its allegiance to Harry, who captured it from Draco. It is now Harry's, because Harry had taken it by hitting Draco. Harry then goes over to bank with Hermione, Ron and Griphook. Ron and Hermione have changed their appearance with Polyjuice whereas Harry and Griphook are under the invisibility cloak. They ask for the vault's access and the manager there senses something wrong. Harry takes him under his spell and he then takes them to that vault. On the way, there a dragon is tied. Everyone's scared. Griphook makes noises because Dragon is afraid of it. They've easily gotten access to the vault. Harry sees a Hufflepuff's cup right in front of him. He senses that it is a Horcrux. They move towards it, then the stuff there starts multiplying because of the spell over it. It gets hard for them to get the cup and Griphook leaves them, taking the sword. Security is now in action as well. Harry takes the cup and leaves with Ron and Hermione. Having no other option, they ride the dragon to escape from the bank and they get off of it near a river. Then Harry gets a vision of Voldemort. He knows that Harry is after Horcruxes. Harry gets to know that fifth Horcrux is at Hogwarts, somehow related to Ravenclaw. They then reach Hogwarts and they're trying to find a way to get in there, but they are seen by Death Eaters. Death Eaters follow them. They reach an alley and an old man hides them at his home. Harry finds his own picture in the mirror hanging on the wall and its broken piece lying there. Harry comes to know that the man that he saw in the mirror was actually Dumbledore's brother, Aberforth Dumbledore. He had sent Dobby for their help. He shows them a way behind a painting. Neville is coming from there. He takes them through the secret passage where all the students are gathered. They're all happy to see Harry. Harry says that he is in search of a Horcrux. It can be anything, but he doesn't know where it is. But it is related to Ravenclaw, that's for sure. Luna says that it can be Rowena Ravenclaw's diadem. Harry agrees to her. Snape summons everyone and says that he has heard of Harry Potter being there. If he got to know that Harry is being assisted, it'd cause dire consequences. Harry shows up amongst the students. Ron and Hermione enter there, along with the Order of Phoenix. Harry calls him a murderer and vents his anger over him. McGonagall attacks Snape again and again. Snape flees away. McGonagall asks Harry the reason of him being there. Harry tells her about the Horcruxes and asks of some time. That is enough to find and destroy them. McGonagall agrees and creates a shield around Hogwarts with rest of the professors. Also, the Stone Guards are now alive and protecting Hogwarts. Ron and Hermione remind Harry that he had destroyed first Horcrux with Basilisk's Fang. They can find the Fang and destroy the cup. Harry hands them the cup to destroy it. Luna sends Harry into a dark hallway to talk to Rowena. Rowena says that Voldemort had put a black spell over her parents' diadem. It can only be found with true desire. Harry understands that it is the Room of Requirement. He gets there, whereas Hermione and Ron get the Fang in Chamber of Secrets and destroy the cup. They then see Harry in the Room of Requirement and head towards it. He is finding the diadem when Draco shows up with his friends to get his wand back. Ron and Hermione then confront them and they make them leave. They have finally found the diadem, but they see Draco and his friends running from the burning fire. One of Draco's friends had mistakenly lit up fire and died. Fire is spreading all over. Harry, Ron, and Hermione take Draco and his friend out on their brooms. Harry destroys the diadem with that Fang and Ron throws it in the fire, whereas Draco and his friend run from there. Voldemort then instructs Harry to come and meet him alone in an hour. Then Harry gets into Voldemort's mind and comes to know that Nagini is Voldemort's last Horcrux. Voldemort is in the boathouse and they've left for there. An army of Death Eaters have attacked Hogwarts' shield and they destroy it and rush in. A war begins. Students are facing its consequences as they are being killed by Death Eaters' army. Harry, Ron, and Hermione are at the boathouse where Voldemort is talking to Snape. He is saying that the Elder Wand is not cooperating with him. Snape had killed Dumbledore and it has become Snape's. That's why Voldemort wants to kill Snape to get hold of that wand. He kills him with Nagini and leaves. Harry, Hermione, and Ron then try to save Snape. Snape asks Harry to hold his tears. He does that and Snape dies. Harry takes his tears to Dumbledore's office to see his memories. He sees that Snape hated James because James bullied him, but he loved Lily more than anything. That's why he kept an eye on Harry to keep him safe. Also, Dumbledore was dying anyway and he had summoned Snape in his office to assign Snape the task of killing him. Harry also learns that he became an accidental Horcrux when Voldemort's curse originally failed to kill him. Snape had sent his Patronus for the safety of Harry and it had helped Harry find the sword as well. Harry realizes that he has to die himself in order to kill Voldemort. Using the resurrection stone that had been stored in the golden snitch bequeathed to him, Harry summons the spirits of his parents, Sirius Black and Remus. They comfort him before he surrenders to Voldemort in the Forbidden Forest. Then he meets Ron and Hermione and goes towards Forbidden Forest to face Voldemort, where Voldemort have captured Hagrid. Voldemort attacks Harry in front of Death Eaters and kills him. Narcissa makes sure that he's dead. Harry wakes up in a limbo where he finds a body lying there. Dumbledore comes there too and he points at that body. He says that it was Voldemort's last part. Only Nagini is now left to kill Voldemort, and he asks Harry to go back. Hagrid is carrying Harry to Hogwarts along with Voldemort. War has ended. He happily announces Harry's death and asks everyone to be with him. Everyone is grieved and they've lost their hope. Neville takes the sword out of the sorting hat and to everyone's surprise, Harry is alive. Everyone is happy to see him. A war between Death Eaters and wizards have begun again, whereas Harry and Voldemort are fighting each other. Voldemort sends Nagini after him, but Neville kills it with the sword, destroying the last of the Horcruxes. Voldemort is now mortal and Harry fights him. Harry finally defeats Voldemort after the Expelliarmus charm deflects the killing curse, rebounding it onto the Dark Lord. Most of the Death Eaters have gone and Bellatrix is dead. Harry is looking at school's condition when Ron and Hermione ask him about the wand. Harry says that Elder Wand had gone to Draco when he attacked Dumbledore, and now it is Harry's because he had attacked Draco. But Harry doesn't want it, he breaks it and throws it away. 19 years later, Harry's wife is Ginny and Hermione is Ron's. Other couples who've been a student at Hogwarts have come to drop their children at Hogwarts Express for their first year. The movie ends here as well this saga. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out.